on it. Because I believe that this whole BaeWatch idea, looking for the right person, didn't start in 2019, and it didn't start with us who were single. It started a long time, a long, long, long time ago, and I believe that God has something to say to us who are single and searching a place. And he said to Abraham, I will make you the father of many. You know, you're going to be the patriarch of a great nation. And so we pick up in Genesis chapter 24, and it says this. Now Abraham was now very old, and the Lord blessed him in every way. So he's at the end of his life. He's beginning to settle down, and he began to realize that he has more years behind him than he has ahead of him. Verse 2, and he said to the senior servant in his household, the one in charge of all that he had, he said, put your hand under my thigh. Now that's a unique request. But it's the equivalent of, in 2000, growing up how we would do the pinky swear. Yeah, so him telling his servant to come put your hand under my thigh means that he's about to make a covenant. That he's asking the servant to promise him something. Verse 3, he says, I want you, this is Abraham to his servant, I want you to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not get a wife for my son from the daughter of the Canaanites, among whom I am living, but will go to my country and my own relatives and get a wife for my son Isaac. So Abraham is BaeWatching for his son Isaac. So Abraham, and this is the first takeaway that I want us to take from this story, for us who are singles, who are looking, who really are looking for someone to spend the rest of our life with. If Abraham, who had a son named Isaac, and I believe that Abraham loved his son, because if you remember the story, he was up in age, and God promised him a son, and he couldn't rationalize it. He believed that he was beyond childbearing age, and there was no possible way biologically that God could make good on this promise that he can have a son. But God gave him the son, and I believe that Abraham loved his son so much that he became concerned with who his son, whom he loved, would spend the rest of his life with. Abraham, Isaac's earthly father, was preoccupied with who his son Isaac would eventually be booed up with. Abraham was preoccupied with his son's love life. He was concerned about who his son Isaac will eventually go on vacations with. He was concerned about who his son Isaac would be kissing on and rubbing on and laying next to. He was concerned about who he would walk down the aisle with. He was overly concerned in the latter stages of his life of who his son Isaac would eventually have children with. And this is Isaac's earthly father. And so the first thing I want us to do is I want us to take note in this area that just as Abraham, who is a physical earthly father, was involved and interested in his son's romantic life, God is interested and wants to be involved in our romantic lives. God is interested in who you date. He's interested in who you go on dates with. He's interested in who you're kissing. He's interested in who you're hugging. He's interested in who you're taking photos with. He's interested in who you are sleeping with. God is interested in this area of our lives. Now for us, that makes us really uncomfortable. Because God is only supposed to be involved or interested in how we pray and how we sing and where we give our tithes to, right? But as we see in Genesis chapter 4, Abraham said something to his servant. And he was only reciprocating and rehearsing that which God had already said to him. God said a long time ago, I am concerned. And I want to be an active participant in your romantic life.